Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
The Claim is a multimedia exhibition that uses installation, sculpture, video, photography to explore the ideas of land use, private property, and local history. We are exploring The Claim today at the Nanaimo Art Gallery here at VIU. On today's show, a small-town girl making her mark in the music industry, beer for dogs, and remembering Bennett Wong. That and more in the next 30 minutes. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Art is a powerful tool that society has to engage in conversation, and The Claim here at Vancouver Island University's Nanaimo Art Gallery location is doing just that. We're going to talk to the art gallery curator later on this edition of Go Island. But first, Haley Sales is a young girl from a small town who's making a big impact in the music world. She's already working on her third release. Rayanne LaPlante spent some time with Haley Sales. Another example of the high caliber talent coming from right here in this area. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. This is the main installation piece of an exhibit here at the Nanaimo Art Gallery at VIU called The Claim, and it just sort of begs climbing on it. But Justin, we can't.
Not currently.
Why?
Right now we are negotiating with the university to figure out how we can create a structure as big as a building which is not built according to code but which is safe for use, because our building code determines safety of use right now, and this structure slides in between those definitions right now.
Okay, now you might think that that would cause a little bit of controversy or an us against them, but that's not the case at all. What's actually happening here is a perfect example of how art can engage in conversation, and how does that come back to the original concept of the exhibit in the first place?
It does so because the exhibit is about claiming space, about how people can use everything from a plastic ribbon, which we'll see on the inside on a tree, to a large construction like this to claim space. And that part of that claim is how we use the space. The artists thus have really successfully created a work which makes us question, how do we use this space here on campus? And even the nature of a viewpoint. If we create a viewing spot, is that for everyone to see? And I think these are the ideas that go right back to this idea going about 3 or 4 years ago when we started this exhibit idea about claiming space.
Okay, now one of the things I read in the press release is that the artists really want you to go through the exhibit rather than stand back and watch it. And it seems like that's been taken to another level with the conversation that's happening now as well.
Absolutely. One of the issues when you look at the structure is that the structure appears to be slightly unstable, and yet I can assure you that it is more solid than many buildings that we have in town. And the idea is, what is it to move through space on an angle, in a skewed view, if you will. And of course, their negotiations, our negotiations with issues of liability and safety, make us think about those as well.
Okay, there's a big history component to The Claim as well, taking a look back at our local history through the simple act of walking through the woods, from what I can gather.
Absolutely, and in fact, when we look at this construction, it is an imaginary pit head or a mine head. So it refers back to the prospecting and mining history of Nanaimo, where individuals would stake a claim and create a mine all by themselves and claim that space and the materials beneath which. And so it's a beautiful metaphor, I think, in which we're not mining for minerals, but we're looking at meaning through art. And this is what we're digging up with this work.
Wow. That's pretty powerful. Art, mining for meaning here at the Nanaimo Art Gallery at Vancouver Island University campus. We'll have a look at the other part of the exhibit inside after a short break. Still to come today on Go Island, a new beer for our four-legged friends and a look at the Haven in memory of Bennett Wong. That and more still to come today on Go. We've moved inside the art gallery here at Vancouver Island University campus. We're going to explore some landscapes that make up part of the exhibit, The Claim by Nathan and Cedric Bomford. It runs here at VIU until January the 11th. They will be familiar scenes, some which you've, I'm sure, experienced in person, and we're going to have an artistic conversation that takes them beyond ordinary. But first, we're throwing things down to Victoria. There's a new type of beer being created, but it's not for human consumption, it's for dogs. Further proof that it is definitely a dog's life. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. This is Justin McGrail. He is the curator here at the Nanaimo Art Gallery at VIU. On first glance, this is part of the claim. We've moved inside. It looks like a stump with some ribbon on it.
Correct.
But there's more to it than that.
Absolutely. This sort of site would be familiar to people on the island. You can imagine yourself walking through the woods or off a logging road in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly you come across a site like this. And this is a way of feeling the idea of a claim. We suddenly feel property. We suddenly, all of a sudden, someone has made a claim and has said that this is their space. And it changes how we move through the space.
Okay, and it's kind of the first, I guess, human societal change of something in a natural environment. This is where it all begins.
This is where it starts. As you can see, even in these images, we go from the smooth organic lines of the trees to now the cut, and look at those artificial colors of the ribbons. Human presence makes itself known.
What do you see
in nature.
What do you see in this one? I think of hug for some reason.
Isn't it, eh? Isn't it beautiful the way that the blue, again being long, echoes the line of the tree? It really sort of accentuates the two, but it's a side-by-side contrast between the natural and the human or the social.
And the depth of field too.
Absolutely.
Could read into that, the contrast between what's coming, what is, and the change.
Exactly. What is clear to us and what is sort of only vaguely hinted at in our future as we move through the woods.
Exactly, exactly.
No, there's this idea as well that when we are in the woods, and again, island folks know these.
We spend a lot of time in the woods.
We spend times in the woods, and we often encounter not just single ribbons, but pairings of ribbons. And for the artist, this is a language of color and a language of space. And it shows us how the space is used or how the space is intended to be used.
Okay, and there's some symbolism there to the language that we use to make claims in other parts of society.
Absolutely. We can imagine how this is a simple form using a ribbon, but how we can use gateways, we use signs. Sometimes when you think about when you're, what's the most natural thing in the world but to leave your coat on a chair when you want to keep your chair and then you run away to go get your drink. That's a claim. We've claimed the chair.
And somehow we do feel an ownership over that chair.
Oh, for those few minutes we do, absolutely.
Desmond Morris is a psychologist who studied human nature, and even the act of putting your arm around somebody, you've sort of claimed that person.
Absolutely.
Even as yours to show that to the rest of the world.
Yeah, and our artists are interested because art is about making claims. An artist makes a claim, whether it is on the space that they're exhibiting in, but on the ideas they want to share with the public. And we, the viewers, are there to engage in that claim.
So they're kind of claiming a spot in our thoughts.
In our thoughts, but it's a conversation. It is a sharing. This isn't an intervention into space. In the same way that we are having a lovely walk through the woods and we suddenly our walk changes by encountering a claim.
Fascinating. The power of art to have conversation, a wonderful theme today on Go Island. We're going to throw things over now to Kim Rock, who converses in a bit of a heavier way. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. The Haven on Gabriola Island is a lifelong learning institution. It's a nonprofit organization, and we had the pleasure of spending some time there last summer. We're going to re-air that story for you now in honor of Bennett Wong. He passed away in Nanaimo last week at the age of 83. He was a co-founder of The Haven. And once again, Bennett Wong passed away in Nanaimo last week. He was 83 years old. If you'd like to express your condolences or find out about any kind of celebrations of life taking place, the best thing to do is contact the Haven on Gabriola Island. This is part of the exhibit, The Claim, and on the photos on the wall behind me you can actually see the mine head structure that is installed outside of the art gallery here at VIU, and they mined it. This is what they pulled out of the ground on, I believe it was Bowen Island. The Claim runs here at VIU Nanaimo Art Gallery location until January the 11th. Come on down and check it out. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.